I think it's very much worth adding at this point right now, even the way it's already been priced, just because I do think this team is much better than what they're given credit for right now.
So I'm looking at one book. That's it. So shop around. But I'm looking at one book right now that has plus 750 on the Hornets. I have 14-1 and 10 or 12-1 from the preseason.
To make the playoffs?
Yeah.
I'm looking at 12-1 right now.
Well, Jesus.
This is Pod to the Futures with Mitch Moss and Jonathan Von Tobel on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Yo, what up, fools? Welcome in. It is another weekly edition of I was going to go hard with handicappers. Man, I'm glad I stopped myself there. Pod to the Futures. Mitch Moss, Jonathan Von Tobel with you for the next amount of undetermined minutes. Mitch, good morning. How's it going?
How are you? Did you enjoy the national title game last night?
It was a very good game last night. I kind of expected. I was listening to you guys on the way in. Good job on the VSiN crossover. But I think you had said it, like if Miami had pulled it off, it wasn't really going to be that big of an upset. I think were your words, just because even with the point spread, like these two teams were pretty close to each other. And you saw that. And it was a good game. It was a fun game. Came down to the last play. Fun physical contest where, maybe some chicanery from the officials at times, but I don't think you can complain about that game at all. That was a phenomenal game from tip to tail.
Yeah, turned out to be really good and dramatic in the second half. I questioned Miami's play calling in the first half, especially at one point when they got the ball back. I think they were trailing 3-0, and they go basically pass.
Yep.
Like, what are you? And you saw that Fletcher was the absolute stud that he is again last night in that game, right? He's awesome until he decides to hit an Indiana player when the game's over with. That's neither here nor there. That really was like, guy, come on, man. That was a dumb and wasted possession to give the ball right back to Indiana. And let's be honest. I mean, who made more mistakes last night? It was clearly. Indiana. Oh, did you really think so?
Oh, I thought so.
Oh, I thought it was Miami by a landslide. I thought they just.
I thought the magnitude of Miami's mistakes were bigger. Obviously, like the blocked punt, the kid misses the block, all sorts of stuff. But I thought in terms of like the actual amount of mistakes, because I tweeted this yesterday. I'm sure you witnessed this as well. You're really good with this stuff. Because he's such a character and because his team won the national championship, we can't do this. Cignetti was awful with his clock management yesterday. Flat out awful in many key spots. You talk about the end of the first half where they run the ball and then let the clock burn 20 seconds, but then they throw a pass and get to the 50-yard line. So then he decides to burn a timeout. The multiple timeouts burned before fourth downs when you could have just gone for it when you weren't going to do it. They were in a situation where had Miami taken the lead, if they had handled it properly, they were sitting on a couple of timeouts with the potential to go down and win the game. And instead, they were desperately hoping to turn Miami away on that final drive.
Well, and I hated Cristobal settling for that long field goal before halftime. Yep. I thought that was dumb. I thought you had to go for that. I will say, everybody's going to talk about the genius that Cignetti showed by calling the timeout, thinking about it, putting the team back on the field, and then the play call, the guts, the execution on the Mendoza touchdown run. All fair. I get that. But then why would you kick a field goal to go up by 6 with a minute and a half left? I thought that was terrible. You have to go for it, dude. Every single time. I don't know why I honestly don't know why he did that. That felt a little unlike him in that spot. But of those 2 fourth downs that he picked up on the same drive, Cristobal, would have punted and then kicked the field goal rather than go for it both times. You know that he would have for sure. I just like the face mask on Miami. How dumb.
Yep.
Come on, guys, settle that. And you saw, by the way, how good the defensive line is and those edge players. My good God, man, that they were in Mendoza's face pretty much the entire game.
Yep. There was a pretty key offsides, there not as well, and like a 3rd and long that would have gotten them off the field, and instead the drive continues after that. I thought there were numerous mistakes. I thought just like I said, the magnitude. I don't know what the kid's name is. I'll probably look it up. There's probably a lot of kids but on that punt block, that was ultimately the difference. How in the world do you not even touch the guy? How do you let him just run by you? That was so weird. He just kind of sticks an arm out and taps him as he runs by. Do you not realize that you're the last line of defense and you're letting this dude just go? It was so weird.
A total blown assignment at your own goal line.
Yeah.
Oh, but also, how about fielding the punt?
Yep.
From Tony. Let that go, man.
Right. And
what are you doing?
If you get the unlucky bounce and it goes backwards, so be it. But you got to give it the opportunity to potentially go out of bounds there too. So yeah, I think that's fair. I guess I was more focusing on the game management standpoint than the actual mistakes of the players. So I think it's fair to say Miami made more mistakes. I was just surprised by the failures at times of Curt Cignetti yesterday from a game management standpoint. But hey, won the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. So did you know that going back to 2001, Sports Odds History, good Twitter handle, good website, the Hoosiers' longest preseason odds to win the title in college football, 100-1, which I still can't even believe that they were. I can't believe I didn't look at that. We didn't talk about that more. Auburn was 50-1 in 2010, LSU 40-1 in 2003, Ohio State 40-1 back in 2014. So, looking ahead to next year, odds are up at a couple of spots anyway. I don't know if people are going to want to now find that next 100-1 shot. Who can be the next Curt Cignetti? I'm probably going to say nobody.
UNLV.
I like it. What are they at? 6,000-1?
Yeah, come on now.
Let's put 35 cents on that.
I mean, to be fair, they are scheduling for the playoff. We'll put it that way.
Okay. So I would just be careful on taking, flyers on teams that are really, really deep. Although some teams have crushed it in the portal, according to those who follow it, like On3. Yeah. They have right now Louisville as the fourth best team in the portal. They're 150-1. They also play Ole Miss. They're at Ja Tech, FSU, SMU, at NC State. You're going to make the case for most of these teams when you look at the schedule and say, that's a bear. I don't know if I want a piece of that. And bye-bye to the chances of ever getting Texas Tech at 100, 200, or 300-1 ever again.
Yeah.
They're the number one team in the portal right now. They're also like between 14 and 16-1. Here's their schedule, actually. It's the day after the national title game. We still got a week plus left in January. I don't think I'm going to lock up 16-1 for a full year. Their non-conference, Abilene Christian, Sam Houston, Oregon State. They play at Baylor, Cincy, Colorado, and Oklahoma State. They get Arizona, ASU, TCU, Houston, and West Virginia at home.
Wow.
They're going to be awesome again next year. There's a very good path for this team to be undefeated, win that conference, and have a super high seed again. And by the way, it's played in Las Vegas for the first time ever next year, the national title game.
I'm very much looking forward to that. That should be good and get out there from a media and from a fan standpoint to potentially play it. I'm trying to see, because the team that I thought potentially that was worth looking at if they land the fish that they want. Can we look at Miami to make another run here? If they get Darian Mensah, who is in the transfer portal and is pretty much, according to all reports, in the transfer portal because they want to go and he wants to go play in Miami. You talk about a schedule that is relatively opportunistic. They do have a couple of tough road spots at the beginning. So maybe another situation where you drop some at Notre Dame, at Clemson. The rest of the schedule, though, Boston College, Duke, Florida State, Pitt, Virginia Tech, at North Carolina, at Stanford, and at Wake. I mean, depending on what the bounce back is going to be for Florida State, outside of those two road games against Notre Dame and Clemson, and not in that order, by the way, this is just their schedule. This seems like an opportunity for Miami to potentially get back to where they were right now, to build up on that schedule. You split those, Clemson and Notre Dame, especially if you can steal it from Notre Dame. Obviously a big pelt on the wall, but if you're a one-loss team with your only loss being Notre Dame, you'll be a playoff team. You'll be fine. So I thought Miami getting back here, they're about 20-1, was something worth looking at if you wanted to tie your money up. Yeah,
and we know this, right? They're going to spend a lot of money in the portal. Yep. A lot of these teams are, but also the one area where Cristobal has been really good going back to his days in Oregon, like he flipped Oregon from a finesse team to a power team, and he really did a great job of bringing in talent on the lines and in the trenches. That has only continued and probably gotten better in Miami, and that's going to be a thing as long as he's there. Yeah. Like they're always going to be able to, almost have an edge of whoever they play with the offensive and certainly the defensive lines that he'll put together.
Yep. I mean, and look at the skill position talent that's coming back. Like if you get Mensah, and then of course, you get Tony, all these guys, Fletcher, they're going to be back. So like they're going to be a very good offense if you land Mensah here in the portal. And all of a sudden you're looking at, you're going to lose some talent along the defensive line. Bain's going to be a first-round pick, but you should be able to replicate some semblance of good defense. Their secondary of key spots is somewhat young too. So I think you look around at this group and you say like, oh yeah, like this team again could be the best team in the ACC, could actually win the ACC this time with the change of the tiebreakers and then be good to go. And at 20, again, it's 20-1 and tying it up for a year. This is kind of the problem when you're talking about futures at this point, but that was the one that did stick out to me.
Tony's going to be too popular in the Heisman market starting very soon.
That's the other market that you can look at now. Yep.
It's going to be too low, I think, for him to bet on. I'll throw this out there with Indiana. Now, again, 100-1 this last year, 7-1 right now to repeat next season. Their non-conference is North Texas, Howard, and Western Kentucky.
Might trip up in Howard.
What are they winning in that game? 52?
Look, they're undefeated, but my favorite stat, we were talking about this yesterday, the lone 100-yard rusher of the season heading into last night, is the kid from Old Dominion, a game they not barely won, but they won 27-14 at the beginning of the year. So
wow.
Yeah, remember that?
No, I don't actually.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
That's again, they're a great team. You're not going to take away anything from them. But I was going through because I was curious because their run defense has been good, and obviously talking about this run offense for Miami was going to be a really big point. So I was like, okay, statistically, this is a dominant defense. Who's the last 100-yard rusher they allowed? Go back to the first week of the season, number 20 Indiana. They beat Old Dominion 27-14. Colton Joseph ran for 179 on 10 carries against Indiana in that game.
Wow.
So, I mean, you can slip up here or there, but they still won the game. Fun nugget, though.
That's very good. The team that they pounded in the semifinals, Oregon, I saw today that PFF early rankings here, they have Oregon number 1, and they were making the case like their talent coming back is absolutely phenomenal. Look at their schedule, and they're like plus 950 to win. They get Boise in the non-con at Oklahoma State. They're going to be way better. Obviously, new coach and all the transfers that he's bringing in. They're at Illinois. They're at Ohio State, at USC. Wow. They get Washington, Nebraska, Michigan at home. With Dan Lanning as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfair, but it might be time to start at least putting it on the meeting board to have a conversation about Dan Lanning down the road. He's a good coach, but these last two, for the losses to be non-competitive the way they have been in the playoff is somewhat interesting.
I don't disagree. And Phil Knight, again, he wants to win a national title before he dies. He's made that clear. And maybe like the clock is ticking here.
Is there anything, the problem is Indiana was clearly an outlier with the way they were being priced. They were a top 20 team and still at some spots were 100-1. And I think to your point that you brought up here originally, I think a lot of people are going to maybe try to hunt for that next 100-1, Missouri, South Carolina, even BYU in 70. What's the farthest as we kind of have surface knowledge of what these teams are going to look like? I feel like the farthest on the board you'd be willing to actually go at this point is like in that 40 to 50-1 range. Maybe. I mean, we're talking in the range of like Florida. You're getting into 60-1 at like Utah, Tennessee, BYU. I mean, they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
They're a playoff caliber team, but I don't know if you're going that far out. It seems that there's people would have said this at the beginning of the year too, but there seems to be a pretty hard line around there. And realistically, there doesn't seem to be a team that is capable of making the leap on paper right now that Indiana did. And, to be fair, there's probably some new regimes that you probably are pretty excited about around that mark, but Indiana was in its second year under Cignetti, obviously, when it won this. Right. So that's something should be accounted for.
All right, let me throw a guy at you and a team at you that fits that bill.
Washington.
No. Although the Big Ten now has won it 3 straight years.
That's right.
They own the sport right now. 3 different teams. Who's going to be that team out of the Big Ten next year to go on a crazy run?
121.
Okay. It's going to be popular, I think, just because of the name that they brought in. But Vatek is 400-1.
I was thinking about
that. He's crushed it in the portal.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, again, and here we go with the schedule game, they play, I have them as road games at Clemson, SMU, Miami, BC, Cal, and Maryland. There's 6 road games next year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, could they get in if they lost 2 of those games, Clemson, SMU, Miami, 2 of those 3, if they were 10-2, won the ACC title, could they get into the playoff?
I think with an ACC title in the pocket, I would say yes.
They're in. In. So 400-1?
Big game, James. I mean, now you don't have the pressure, right? Now it's just free money. Like, I'm just bringing lowly Virginia Tech along.
That's exactly right. So I'm just saying, like, they're absolutely in. Now, here's the thing. That's much easier said than done.
Yes.
Because they could stumble 5 times, who knows? And then you're like, oh, that was fun while it lasted for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yep. By the way, a quick aside, because this just popped up on my screen. Folks, you got to be careful on social media. I just got, for the 3rd time this week, a DM from somebody that I follow that says, hey, can you do me a quick favor? I'm in this podcast contest, and I need you to click on this link and vote for me. Folks, never click on the link. Okay?
Oh, man. I know.
There's so many people.
I woke up early one day, and I saw that I had a DM from somebody that has rarely, if ever, DM'd me.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, man, look at this. I'm so blessed. Look at my new house or whatever, if you don't mind. And I opened it up and I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. Congratulations. Good for you. And of course, I realized once I woke up, oh, wait a second, because I went and looked at his feed, completely hacked the day before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. Now what's going to happen to me?
I once got a DM from former Suns player Eddie Johnson.
Eddie Johnson, yeah, great in media, obviously, calls games, has for a long time.
Good. The DM said, yo, I'm selling these shoes. Do you want to buy them? And it was a link, and I was like, I feel like this isn't Eddie Johnson on the other side of this. And it was not. He got hacked. Oh, boy. So that's just, I apologize. I distract. Quick aside. All right, let me ask you this question before we move off of this topic. This is just a general philosophy question because we're talking about national championship futures the morning after the national championship.
Right.
So you're talking about a year. How far out are you willing to bet some of these futures? Like, when do you invest? Do you wait? Are you willing to bet on something here? There is, because I know that there's a lot of fun stories about these long shot tickets that come in that have been invested in around this time. I think if I remember, you can correct me on the details here, but if I remember correctly, the year that Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, somebody had bet them at like 50-1 or something like that, and thinking that they were going to get Tom Brady. And that was the day after the Super Bowl prior. So we have all these fun stories, but the reality is the likelihood of you investing in this, holding it, and then waiting for a full year, having it be worth your while. How far out will you invest in futures like this?
Okay, so good question. The last 2 years, I've done it already.
Okay.
So early January of 2024, I had a bet on Ole Miss because I love the talent coming back, and he was crushing it at the time, bringing in, guys from the portal and also in the recruiting class.
Sure.
And that's the year they failed to make
I was going to say they were last year, right? Okay.
Yeah. I thought they were maybe the second best team in the country last year. They were so good, but they just blew games in the regular season. And so that was, I think, January 2nd. I bet them like a 25-1. This last year, already in pocket, I had Arizona State because they lost Scadaboo, but they made that playoff run. I love the job that Dillingham did as the coach. Levitt was going to come back. I thought they had a manageable schedule. And that was at 300-1, I believe. Or it's a huge number, whatever. And they failed to miss the playoffs or to make the playoffs. So I'm going to dial it back this year for sure. I need to let it breathe for a little while longer.
And I would assume, too, I mean, this is for you, but like for me, if I'm going to bet something this far out, it's going to be smaller in terms of the units that you're putting in there because you're just, you're letting it hang out there for over a year.
Totally agree. And also, I think that you need to follow this stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And now I will say this, books do post stuff earlier than ever. I mean, we've had Brad Powers on last couple of years. He has several bets by early, mid-February. Yeah. And we're talking about conferences, yes, no, to make the playoffs. So you're going to be able to find that stuff. And that's why he had Texas Tech 12-1 early on to win the Big 12. And he's following the portal. He's like, I think this number's way off.
Well, that, and then there's a whole nother conversation. We get these games of the year, and you're plopping down week 8, Ohio State, Oregon, whatever numbers in freaking March. You're like, yep, I really like this. Like, that's a psychopath.
That's pretty hardcore. Yeah.
Some of those numbers are great. Some you're on the wrong side of, but some it's absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting it's an interesting topic too, because I'll briefly tie this in. We are getting closer to baseball season. We should, we were going to, I think, start to hit on some of these as this is probably about the time where you want to start investing in some of these futures. And to that point about tying up money for whatever the return's going to be, you can make the argument right now that it's worth putting it in at plus 275 for the Dodgers to win the World Series.
Oh, I know. And cross-sport parlays, I think, too, with them.
That's, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really smart. I put in Indiana money line and tied it to Jackson Smith and Jigba to win Super Bowl MVP. So I put that in the other day, doing some cross-sport stuff like that and kind of adding on. You're really good at that. You're putting on a little bobble, if you will, onto something that you like, that you think is going to hit, so that you get a little bit more of your payout there, and adding to it. So like a Dodgers Nuggets Western Conference ticket, something like that. Might be, you know what I mean? Might be worth something looking at. Is that a bad or a good?
No, because that'll bump up the Nuggets on that price.
Yeah.
Because that's going to get them beyond the number that you were hoping for when Joker went down with the injury.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's going to be months down the road, but those are fun tickets to have and look at and examine. And the Dodgers are going to be the best team in baseball with a bullet. Not close. No,
I mean, that's going to be the cool thing, too, about the Dodgers is in the way that baseball works. That is a set it and forget it type of bet where, look, they could lose in the postseason. I'm fairly confident you're getting to the postseason at the very least.
Yeah, right.
They're so deep, and the way that baseball plays out, you're going to be at least sitting there going, all right, cool. Like, we're here. Now we have to get this thing done. Really quickly, I'm going to put this together on the fly. So yeah, like 17-1, Dodgers, Nuggets parlay.
Okay.
Nuggets to win the conference, Dodgers to win the World Series.
Well, okay, so I'll give you an example of, we had the Bear, Chris Felica, on the show yesterday, and he was wrapped up in Miami futures big, right? Several times throughout the year, including before Selection Sunday, triple digits, yada, yada, yada. He actually thought that they were going to win the game last night. He loved them, but he did want to lock in money, right? And who doesn't? I want to pick up free money when I'm walking on the sidewalk if there's a chance to do so. So his example was he bet Indiana money line along with Sinner to win the Aussie Open going on right now, and he tied that into Arsenal to win the Prim. Okay, that's going to cut down a 320 money line on Indiana and get you, I don't know, he didn't say the price, but it's got to be at least even money is my guess on that. So that's one way to attack it and to put legs in. I know I have several tickets open right now to the Avs to win the West in the NHL.
Yeah, that's the unique aspect. So I had Miami at 16-1 to win the national championship.
You brought that up, actually, on this pod for sure.
And yes, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, we did talk about that when we put that in. One of the things that I tried to do that is not, it's always kind of tricky because again, you need another leg. I teased Indiana down and then added the Broncos this week.
Okay.
So that was my kind of like way to hedge it a little bit. So we'll see if that gets there. Obviously, you need something else to happen for you, but so trying to do something when you have a ticket that's facing such a big favorite and finding unique ways to hedge it's always a challenge because last night an opportunity never really presented itself in a viable way. For the most part, to get in on Indiana. Outside of, at one point, Miami in-game was like plus 260, but even then you were like, you're still laying a pretty big price there on Indiana if you're hedging off of that.
And oh, by the way, these are fun tickets. We're human beings here, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we like to track this stuff. I was telling somebody the other day who doesn't bet futures very often, but they're getting into it a little bit more. And they're more of a daily. They have he does top down, so it's like 25, 30 bets every single day. So I told him that I bet the Rams last February to win the Super Bowl. It was the day that Stafford announced that he's going to come back. That to me is they had a chance to be the best team in the NFL, but I knew that I was going to have a lot of fun with that ticket the entire year if they did not have a bazillion injuries. And that's a way for me to have action every single week in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I'm not going to retire betting the NFL on a daily or weekly basis. It's a very difficult sport to win at. So I love betting futures. I love doing this podcast and looking at angles like that. And to me, now the Rams here we are in the Final Four, and it's been a blast having that ticket in pocket for, almost a full year now.
Yep. What do you think of my you do like my Jackson Smith and Jigba Indiana money line?
What was the number?
I'm pulling it up right now to see what exactly I got on it. Because Jackson Smith and Jigba was like 15-1. So I got 20-1.
You got 20-1 on the combo.
Yeah.
Okay. See, so you're gonna have 20-1 on JSN to win the MVP if they
win this. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that number if they get by the Rams? 6-1?
Yeah, I mean, maybe even less. Does he have? I mean, this is going to be a wild statement. Will he have better odds than Sam Darnold? I mean, it's a question. I'll lead no too, but I mean, Darnold's not exactly lighting it up. He only had 17 pass attempts this last week.
I know.
He's still dinged up, and that throw was very good, but the catch was, I think, even better when you're talking about what they did against the 49ers. So, but to your overall point, I think JSN's probably going to be around 5 to 6-1, and yeah, I'll be sitting on 20-1 on him to win MVP.
Well, okay. See, I don't hate that. I hope that it loses, though, because I want my Rams ticket to get there instead. So we're battling again this weekend. No offense, buddy.
I have a Rams. I have the Rams to win the Super Bowl as well. I think we talked about this on this pod as well. Had added them to win. I'll pull this up right now. I've got them at 6-1. So,
okay. Well, here's what I did too. And it was after the game. And now that we have more information, the Charbonnet injury. Once that news came out, I immediately bet Kenneth Walker at 15-1 to win the MVP of the Super Bowl. He's going to get the attempts. They throw to him out of the backfield as well. This is a team that if they make the Super Bowl, I'm not going to want the quarterback. I'm not going to want Darnold. And I think, JSN certainly is going to be a popular guy. And if he has 7 for 120 and a touchdown, that can easily cash. I think they also have candidates like Shaheed. We saw it again. You've been talking about
a good one. Yep.
Their special teams forever. He was 130-1 2 weeks ago. Super Bowl MVP.
And this is a battle of incredible special teams unit versus maybe the worst.
Yep.
I know. This is such a interesting dynamic. That's a good one. I actually might have to add a little bit of Shaheed as well, because you could foresee a scenario in which maybe this is what you're looking at. First off, he's just dynamic, but they also use him in some gadget plays like the end arounds, the rushes, things like that. But let's say it's a 16-7 type win. He's got a punt return for a touchdown, a couple of big runs, and they only kick a couple of other field goals to get that thing done.
Sure.
I mean, that's a unique setting in which, maybe you're going to actually have an opportunity there to get that with Shaheed.
Yeah, 2 catches, 37 yards, a couple of runs, and a special teams touchdown in a low-scoring game. That, and I think defensive players for the Seahawks will be live as well.
I'm looking at 30-1. Let's see if there's somewhere else here. What'd you say you got it at?
Shaheed?
Yeah.
I did not bet it yet. I was looking at 30-1.
Okay.
That was down. We had a viewer send it in a couple of weeks ago for our pizzeria segment that we do on Follow the Money.
Oh, that's a good one.
And he suggested 130-1. Like, oh man, that's good. Didn't bet it.
Yeah, 40-1 is there. Response, yeah.
40. Okay, yeah. All right.
So shop around. You can get a little bit for it, but yeah, this is such a fun market too, because you look around, you're like, all right, like, what are we going to do? Who can you really look at to potentially win this thing? The Seahawks, I feel like we say this every year, and then it's just a quarterback. So, take that with a grain of salt. But the Seahawks seem to be a team that's got a lot of options to potentially win Super Bowl MVP.
I would agree. The Rams, not so much. It's going to come down to probably like 2 guys.
Oh, yeah, it's Stafford. I retweeted this. Dude, these games, you watch them. I was watching this out at the Superbook with some friends of ours, Chris Massaro, Paul Bovey, Matt Humans, Doug Zirian. And there was a couple of Jamesons that had gone down. So a little wonky, and I'm also like really intently focused on this Bears team because I had this ticket to win. That throw in overtime that Matthew Stafford made to Davante Adams on the left sideline. Did you see the end zone angle of that throw?
I don't think I did.
It's incredible. These TV broadcasts don't give, obviously the games are all great. You don't really get the depth of some of these throws sometimes. I retweeted it. Mitch, he's on the opposite hash, and he slings this thing into the only spot that Davante Adams can get it. There's no other way. It was on a effing rope. It was an incredible throw.
Oh my God.
You watching it?
That's absolutely bonkers, man.
But like you watch it on the broadcast, you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's just an out route, like good throw, good catch. And then you watch it from that angle, you're like, holy shit. How does a human being make that throw in that setting? It's incredible.
We always hear this. Quarterbacks are told over and over and over. The only thing that he could have done that was worse is if he was scrambling to his right to make the throw. And it's zipped over, perfectly placed. Also, unbelievable catch by Adams as well.
But and so to your point, I'm distracted, but the whole point is that the Rams very clearly have hey, Super Bowl MVP, league MVP. Like there's a narrative. They're going to win through him. I know a lot of people are probably going to make the case for Puka Nacua. I think Nacua would have to have, and I'll look at the stat line for him, but wow, why am I blanking on his last name? Who's Julian? Who's the wide receiver that won the MVP for the Patriots?
Edelman.
The white guy. Jalen Edelman. Thank you. I was going to say Edlow. Julian Edelman. He had double-digit catches or nearly in that game and over 100 yards in a contest that was 16-3 or whatever the final score was. It would have to be something like that for Nacua to even have a shot.
Yeah, he caught like every pass that Brady threw.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal, obviously.
I think they're really gonna want to give it to Stafford. So if you don't have anything in terms of the Rams, I mean, Stafford's 3-1 to win Super Bowl MVP. And if the Rams, because here's the other part about this that'll affect what we're talking about here with Jackson Smith-Njigba or anything else. Fair to say, both these NFC teams will be favored, correct?
Oh, yeah, 3.5 minimum. Yeah,
yes.
If it's the Patriots.
Yep. So in that instance, obviously, the odds of your ticket for an MVP are also going to increase because their team is assumed to be winning the game. So then you'll get, we're talking about JSN, especially, God forbid, it's the Broncos. If it's Seahawks-Broncos, JSN and all these guys are going to be pretty short to win MVP in comparison to a normal Super Bowl.
Well, because the look ahead for either team against the Broncos, that number is 8, 8.5, 9, depending on where you look.
Yes. So you'd be hard pressed to find a situation there. So I like it. All right. Anything else football related? Because I wanted to throw.
Well, hold on. You did bring up. I'll tease this quickly for a future pod. You tied in baseball to the to your bet there. So I do have an awards bet already. I've had it for more than a month in Major League Baseball. I will share that as soon as more books post MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year numbers. They're on everywhere. So I want to keep looking. Maybe I'll find a better number on the guy that I bet and actually add more to it.
Wow, you bet Mike Trout to win MVP, huh?
Yeah, I did. That's the guy.
Watch.
That is not the guy.
Wyatt, you're a very good producer. Can you write this down, this clip of what I'm about to say, so we can play this back when he ultimately gets hurt again, please? Or at some point, you'll hear me be positive about the Angels. I promise you. And just play this. We'll have to play this clip at some point. Right now, I'm telling you they're going to suck. But I'm telling you in the next 2 months, I'll come on here and you're like, their bullpen's not that bad. Like, I will do it. I do it all the time.
Here's what is, do I have this right? Mike Trout will probably have 10 home runs by the end of April. And the optimism's going to come back again. And we're like, oh my God. And then 2 days later, oh, look at this. He's out for a month.
Yep.
Isn't that what always happens?
He'll be the best hitter in baseball for a while. And then how I always like to say it, they'll actually probably start the year relatively well, as they usually do. But then there will be right before the All-Star break or right after the All-Star break, there will be a series against an AL West opponent, probably like the Athletics or the Mariners. And you'll be like, man, they just got to take 2 out of 3 and they're going to be fine. And they're going to lose this. They're going to get swept. They're going to get crushed in all 3 games. And then they're going to lose like 7 out of the next 10 games. And it's just going to be downhill from there. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. It happens every single year.
Sounds typical. Yeah.
Yep. It's absolutely brutal. All right, cool. I'm looking forward to baseball. I'm kind of getting ramped up a little bit there. So looking forward to it. I did want to ask you really quickly. First off, I wanted to get this out of the way. No real big developments in the association, but we did get news today that Jimmy Butler tore his ACL last night for the Golden State Warriors. That comes on the heels of the trade demand for Jonathan Kuminga. And because I think these are actually tied together, and I brought this up to our boys, Dave and Jensen, on VSiN by the Books this morning. I think the Warriors are quietly hoping, Mitch, that the news around Kawhi Leonard is worse, because for those who missed it, a couple of days ago, Kawhi Leonard got sent back from the Clippers road trip to LA to get work done on his knee. So it sounds like this knee is an issue once again for Kawhi. And the reason why I say this is that right now could be your 9-10 play-in game, Golden State and Los Angeles. I think the Warriors are very much hoping that this Clippers team falls off, because there is a reality, and they are about $2 favorites to make the playoffs. I would look at no on Golden State in terms of the playoffs. I think they're going to be a play-in team. And if the Clippers are in there along with like a Suns team or anything like that, that could be a very robust play-in tournament. And that's a Golden State team that doesn't really have that much to offer, especially as currently constructed. Shams threw out like DeMar DeRozan as a potential addition, I guess. But I just don't think that this team, if you're talking about the play-in being some mix of the Phoenix Suns, could be the Houston Rockets in there, the Clippers, any one of these teams, I think that that's a rough go for Golden State, and the odds that they fall out of the playoff picture entirely, I think, are more likely than we're giving it credit for.
Okay. They have, what are their trade assets?
I mean,
Golden State at this point.
Not much. They've got Kuminga. Let me look how many picks they control. I don't think they have that many picks at all to control here.
I'm asking because that one report came out that the Knicks are, did you see this earlier today? I'm guessing they did open to trading Cat now.
Oh, really? I did not see that. I mean, yeah, I guess that would make some sense.
Like the Warriors do not have what it takes to make a run at Cat, do they?
I mean, it depends on what you're asking for. I would say maybe not. I think because the names you've been hearing for the Warriors have been these off-ball kind of role player types. Michael Porter Jr., DeMar DeRozan. I don't think you would have the contracts and the assets to go and get somebody like Karl Anthony Towns. Cat would fetch a pretty nifty price from some teams.
I think they would have no chance of getting him, but it's the NBA, so it's always a little funky. I also would think, like, to me, the way that Porter's playing this year, I would think that the Warriors absolutely are way in the back of the line to get somebody like him.
So the Warriors do own, it looks like, their own first-round picks in 26, 27, all the way up to 29. So, I mean, that 29 pick, I guess, if you have the control of it, like Fanspo is saying here, with no protections, could be a pretty valuable pick, because who the hell knows what Golden State's going to be here in 2029.
Sure. Right.
So maybe you could get something there, but again, you have to make the money work as well, which is always kind of a problem. You already have Jimmy Butler on the books. You have Draymond Green. You have Steph Curry. That's a lot of money, and I don't know if you can make it work with the apron that you go and get Cat, because you can't, there's these funky rules about taking in more money than trading it out and all these sort of stuff. So that's always, I think, a difficult thing to make that happen too.
All right. So the no on the Warriors for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Like I said, I mean, if the Clippers are good, because again, the Clippers are hot again. I mean, they've won, I think it's now 6 in a row after the win against the Wizards yesterday, and they're 8-2 in their last 10 games and just playing much better basketball over the course of the last month. So they're going to be, I think we all, if you follow basketball outside of those who just like to dunk on me because I'm a Clippers fan, you realize that this team was playing well below what they actually could be. And they are now what they've been over the last month, I think is the team they could be. So this is not, if anybody's listening to this is not a Clippers are going to win the finals thing. Jensen told me today he's got a Clippers to win the finals at like 70-1 or something like that. And I was like, hell yeah, brother. But this is just I bet the Clippers, I think I mentioned this last pod, I have them at just over 2-1 to make the playoffs. And I think that obviously is directly in the face of what Golden State is going to be here too.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So, I mean, in theory, you could have a yes on the Clippers and a no on the Warriors, and then they play in the 9-10 game. And that's like serious. That's just what you're sitting on right there. So
I know you're very excited. You do this on a daily basis pretty much in the NBA with Charlotte.
Buddy.
So I also, like a bunch of us here at the network, are super high on this team. I have them at big numbers to make the playoffs.
Yep.
And I went back and looked at their schedule. You could probably do this for every team in the league, but they're like seconds or inches away from having like 25 wins on. They could easily be in first place in their division.
For those who didn't pay attention, within the last 10 days, they had that stretch where they lost 3 straight, all 3 of them coming on the final shot of the game.
Yeah. Absolutely crushing. But I think I want to add more on this team to make the playoffs. Is that idiotic?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like, let's say, because here's the thing, too. I don't know how far, like, they are right now, they're sitting 2.5 games out. 3 games out, excuse me, of the 10th seed in the East. But the 2 teams in front of them are the Bucks and the Hawks. The Bucks are falling apart. I mean, did you see that yesterday against Atlanta?
I was coming in. Yeah, I was listening to you actually saying that this is going to come back. The Hawks are going to come back. They started 0 of 21 from deep. The Hawks almost won the game.
0 of 21, 1 of 22 in the first half from beyond the arc. And at one point, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jalen Johnson hit a 3 with 30 seconds left to put them up against Milwaukee. Now, the Bucks eventually won the game, but this team is completely falling apart at the seams. So I don't know. They swear up and down that they're going to go acquire somebody at the deadline. So maybe that improves them. But the Hornets statistically are better than those teams. And in fact, here's a good thing for you. In terms of point differential, the Hornets have a point differential on par with the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 25-16. In fact, their point differential is better by about 0.3 points. So this is a team that is going to, down the stretch, be an absolute threat. I don't want to be that guy, but I do have I have confidence that this win total is going to get there. They're 16-27. I'm going to pull up the numbers now. When they have their 3 guys out there, LaMelo, Miller, and Knipple, they're freaking amazing. And I made this case to your point about making it at the playoffs. Can you go a little bit crazier? Look, the Knicks are kind of falling apart, but if they get back up to the 2 seed, which is not crazy, they're 2.5 games back right now. Do you think if you're the Knicks with the way they play defense, you want to play a best of 7 with Charlotte?
I would say no.
Right?
Absolutely not. No.
That would be a complete and utter pain in the ass for that team.
No, because they have multiple guys, as we've watched the entire year, that can get scorching hot for long stretches of time.
Yes.
Knipple is ridiculous.
He's awesome.
Now, Ball's a little bit of a wild card because he might be 3 of 17 in one game, but he also might come back and be 7 of 11 the next. But they're not the only 2. Your guy, Miller, awesome when he's healthy. Yes. Bridges has had a lot of moments this year.
So here's you want the numbers really quickly?
Yeah.
So with LaMelo Ball, Knipple, and Brandon Miller, just those 3 on the floor together, they are outscoring opponents by 11.5 points every 100 possessions. That is the 94th percentile of net rating for lineups. Their offensive rating, 130.5 with those 3 on the floor. That is 130.5 points every 100 possessions with those 3 guys out there. That is good for the 99th percentile and even better for you. And this sample size is growing too. That's the crazy part. Their most used lineup. So it's those 3 with Bridges at power forward and Diabate at center. So it's their most used lineup. Their net rating is plus 29.3.
Wow.
And their offensive rating is 140. They're so freaking good. So look, They have weaknesses. We're not asking them to win the finals, but I'm just saying, to your point about, hey, playoffs, getting there, all those sort of things, I think it's very much worth adding at this point right now, even the way it's already been priced, just because I do think this team is much better than what they're given credit for right now.
They are plus, I'm looking at one book. That's it. So shop around. Not every book's going to offer this, by the way. But I'm looking at one book right now that has plus 750 on the Hornets. I have 14-1 and 10 or 12-1 from the preseason.
To make the playoffs?
Yeah.
I'm looking at 12-1 right now.
Oh, well, Jesus. Okay.
That's worth, yes. That's
worth a bet. That's worth a bet. 12-1 is.
That's it. We didn't keep up with this, but our FOMO, like fear of missing out bet of the episode, that's got to be it.
Yep.
They're
I would
so
agree.
freaking good, man.
12-1. Okay,
Yeah.
Text me where that's at.
Okay, I will.
When the show's done.
Let's see. I just want to get this too. Play-in odds. Where are they at? They're 4-1 to make the play-in. So here's the interesting part. Let me see. I don't think it's going to happen. Because here's the thing. Obviously, if you don't make the play-in, if you're 11th and on, you lose it. But if they make the playoffs as a top 6 seed, then you also lose it because they're not in the play-in. But they're 8 games out of the 6th seed. I don't know if they could go on that good enough of a pace. And would they be able to overcome teams in front of them outside of Atlanta and Milwaukee, as we talked about? Chicago, maybe. Miami, Cleveland, Orlando is currently in control of the 6th seed. So I think they dug themselves in a little bit too much of a hole. But I do think this team is very good, as we have talked about many times.
Yeah, I don't think 8 games is doable. That's man, we're more than half the season deep now.
Yeah.
So that's a big ask, I would think. I think you maybe bet them both 4-1 to make the play-in.
Yes.
Make that a bigger bet, and then come back a little bit lower on 12-1 to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let me see here. Let me do a little bit of math. So, yeah, because they're still playing at a sub 500 level. They were 4-14 at one point, and now they're 16-27. So what are we talking about here? 12-13? Am I right? Yeah. So they're still like a game below 500. So I think it's going to be hard for them to do that. I mean, their pace is going to have to be incredible down the stretch for them to make a top 6 seed. So I'm with you. Pairing that together, a little bit on the play-in and a little bit on 12-1 to make the playoffs is worth adding there.
Yeah.
All right, really quickly, because we've been going for a little bit now. I did want to ask you, because I keep saying this, and it's crazy. We have less than 60 days before Selection Sunday in college basketball. We're going to ramp up the coverage of this as we kind of move forward now too, but I was thinking about looking around and adding something to the portfolio. I've already have a BYU ticket. They just lost to Texas Tech, but I added them a few weeks back at about 30-1 to win the national championship. We've had some teams kind of recover their status a little bit. And what I mean by that is, they're starting to get a little bit hotter. They're starting to look a little bit better. The creep, as I like to call him, Todd Golden, has the Florida Gators playing at a much higher level. We're seeing teams like Vandy start to slip as well. Just the general question of, have you added anything to the portfolio? Do you think that there's anything worth adding? I think some people would find some surprising teams a little bit farther out. Nebraska's still in the range of like 40-1. You can still get Florida in the range of 20-1. Was there anything in recent days that you've added here for the NCAA tournament? And I have one more angle for you that I will bring up in a moment. But anything to just win the national championship.
I'm glad that you asked, because we never talked about this.
Yeah.
But I have. And it goes back to last Friday night.
Okay.
And we have seen now the A game and what they can look like when they're fully healthy. And some of their performances recently. They're going to have the best player on the court, I think, almost every game out, no matter who they play.
Oh, I think I know where you're going to go.
Take a guess.
Kansas?
Yes.
Yeah.
They absolutely buried Iowa State. Was never close.
Yep.
They blew them out the entire game. They followed up with a blowout of Baylor.
Yep.
So I'm watching that game.
Peterson's so good.
They were 60-1 at Circa.
Ooh.
Best number that I could find.
They're 30-1 now.
Okay. They were 45-1 earlier this morning at Circa still.
Okay.
Now, Peterson's insane. He's incredible. My buddy, who really he knows ball quite well, was a good player in his early days. He sent me a text. He's actually the guy who put me on Kansas last week during that game against Baylor. He's like, turn this on right now. I did. He's like, we need to bet this team. And I watched a little bit more. I'm like, I think he's right. He thinks that Peterson plays so close to what Kobe looked like when he was young. It's not even funny.
Ooh, interesting.
So, but here's the thing. Now that number is gone, I will say that there's going to be an opportunity. This might scare you off the team, but I think don't bet them now because that number is going to come back up, I think. Here's their schedule. Last day of January, they play BYU. In February, they play at Texas Tech. They host Arizona. They're at Iowa State. They play Houston, and they're at Arizona again.
Yeah.
So they have losses coming. But once that number drifts back up, assuming that it does, I think you have to have a little Kansas in pocket if it's going to be around 50 or 60 to 1.
Sure. By the way, I mean, they've got a tricky spot tonight. I mean, Bill Self hospitalized. They got to go play Colorado tonight.
I was actually going to say this is a losable game for them.
Yeah. I have some Colorado +5 tonight, so playing in that situation. They haven't been the greatest on the road. You look at their last 3 road games, they lost to West Virginia, they lost at UCF.
Sure.
They got pushed to overtime by NC State. So the true road spots for Kansas haven't been great. So overall, to your point here, and then remember, of course, they lost to North Carolina to start the year, the ability for them to maybe slip. But in those, to your overall point here, in those single elimination games, where guard play is at its most important and you have the best player in the country just going at it every single game, I mean, I'm with you. They were on them and Florida were the 2 teams of like, oh, hey, look at like they're kind of starting to get their legs back underneath them and you better watch out. And I think that there's something to that.
Florida, I probably should add in pocket. They look freaking awesome again right now. But look at, I want one more second here on Kansas. Look at their overall schedule. The Big 12 is an absolute beast again. I mean, it gets better every single year. So in their non-conference, you're right. They lost to North Carolina. They lost at Duke. This was out in Vegas, right? They played Notre Dame, Syracuse, Tennessee when Tennessee was really humming along. Mm-hmm. They won all those games. They won a close one against UConn. And that's just the non-conference we're talking about before they have to play Iowa State twice, Arizona State twice, Houston, BYU. Like, they're going to be so much better in, 5 weeks, and they're really good right now.
Yep.
So I had to take a piece of them.
Do you buy my last quote? Okay, so this is actually, we'll move off that. As I mentioned, Nebraska, a top 15 team by Ken Palm, also sitting out there at 40 to 1, maybe worth looking at here. So the other topic I was going to bring up just really quickly, the market does this. We talked about these futures from an award standpoint all the time. Cameron Boozer's really minus 350 to win this award. AJ DeBonce has been incredible.
He's been awesome.
He's plus 425. Yes, they just lost out there, so that's always going to be something. Again, the market's going to move around all the time on some of these individual games and these performances. They lose 84-71. DeBonce in the game only had 13 points. So that's, a knock on the resume, if you will. But, I mean, there are 2, they're going to take on Utah here back at home. They get Arizona. If he shows out at home against Arizona coming up here in 6 days, come on now.
Yeah. That's a big Monday game. Or is Big Monday still a thing? I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, it is a big Monday game. it's a big game on Monday.
That's a week from last night. That's one of the best games the entire year in a conference game anyway. So, but also I said that about Peterson being the best player on the court no matter who they play. AJ might be. I mean, he's
so good, dude.
He's ridiculous.
There's nothing that what I really like, and because here's the thing too, and this is why I like BYU. This is why I bet them to win the whole thing as well. They are Kevin Young, for those who don't know, was on the Suns staff. He's an NBA coach, and he's an NBA coach with the way that he puts this team, sets them up for success. There's a couple of possessions, you watch them in certain spots. It was the TCU game too, but it's just like, oh hey, we need to win this game. Let's just let DeBonce work in like the mid post and let's see what we can get out of this. Or the sets that they run to get open threes. They're such a smart team as well. Like I'm down with this team in terms of the big picture and with DeBonce being a little bit more live. Now, will he have to fight the Duke curse, which is, hey, Duke brand? I think they would love to give Boozer this award, win national player of the year. That's going to be part of it, but he's been incredible. This team's great, and I'm a big Kevin Young guy, so let's see if they can do it. But just wanted to bring that up.
No, I was watching Kevin Young and BYU, a lot last year, and some of the stuff that he was running out of timeouts, crucial game situations. You could tell, like they hit a home run with that hire.
They're very good. They're very good. By the way, and this is such a great stat. To your point about how well coached they are, 40% of their attempts come from three. Average 2-point attempt distance is less than 6 feet. They get to the rim or they shoot threes. They largely stay away from some of these mid-range attempts. They're a good team, man. And they're going to be a dangerous team when you get to the the NCAA tournament. So
again, ties into a great coaching staff.
Yep. All right. I think that'll do it for today. Unless you got any last notes, anything, golf, anything you want to throw out there?
Nope.
Okay. All right. That
We're
was
good.
a very powerful no. We appreciate it as always. The numbers on YouTube have been very good. It sounds like the pod numbers as well have been great too. So we really do appreciate it. Share it with your friends. But if anything, if you're listening to my voice right now, a rate, review, and subscribe. The reviews, if you want to throw them in, we can read those as well because those are a ton of fun. So throw a review on Apple Pods or Spotify, and we'll read it here if you got a question or do anything like that. But we really appreciate it. Those are the things that help with our bosses. I almost got fired last week, so we would very much need you to continue your support of this pod so I can keep my job. I've got 2 kids, so everything ties into this,
I had a future ticket on that happening by Selection Sunday. By the way, you can also comment on X. That's probably the best spot for us to get the comments, right? You're at me, JVT. I'm at Mitch Moss Radio. And if you think of anything, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is why it's the beauty of like doing a Futures podcast. There's something always going on in a million different sports. So if you have your eye on something, let us know and we'll kick it around.
Speaking of that, they've won 2 straight already. I did add the Red Wings to miss the playoffs at plus 175.
Okay.
So we're covering all bases here.
Yeah, we're trying to. Yep.
And I will, yes, and speaking of trying to, I will try to do better at aggregating those tweets when you send them in so we can read them here on the pod. I do have to get better at that. So we will make that a habit, and I'll make Wyatt, the producer, do it. How about that? All right. We appreciate it. Like, rate, review, again, subscribe. Thank you very much for listening, watching, and we will talk to you next week here on Pod of the Futures.